Eunice Lopez, and I am one of the team members at HCC's Quality Early Education System, or KEYS, and I'm on the Pathways side of the program. And today I want to share some information on preschool circle time. So, circle time is a group learning experience that happens every day, sometimes twice a day for some of our preschool classrooms. And it's not a bad idea at all to have two separate circle times if you have a very large group of children in your preschool classroom. So you can have them simultaneously, right, if you're working with co-teachers, or you can have them at different times of the day, right? Maybe a morning circle time or and an afternoon circle time. So that depends on how you want to manage your classroom and depending on your group. So our conversation today is going to simply focus on why we actually have a circle time learning experience. Why do we engage children in this large group time, right? What's the purpose of it all? So I always like to ask questions, right? So as a teacher, I like to ask myself some questions, and I hope that you engage in that as well. Like what do I want to truly accomplish during this circle time? What are some of the learning objectives I want to target with this specific group? And why should we even cultivate a classroom community? Why is it important, right, to do this, right? So the first question, what do I want to accomplish? Well, we want to teach a new skill. We want to review the daily schedule. We want to review the classroom routines. Those are typical things that we want to incorporate in our circle time, and that's one of the things that we absolutely want to accomplish during that time. What are some of the learning objectives? Well, we certainly want to target our developmental domains, right? Each of them, and we can possibly target those developmental domains during our circle time learning experience. We want to gauge children's developmental progression, right, about those developmental domains. So during our circle time experience, we have opportunities to gauge their developmental progression. And we also want to see the mastery of skill, right, of specific skills that we've been kind of working on throughout the week or throughout the month. We want to have sort of a check-in during circle time on the mastery of their skills thus far, right? Why is cultivating a classroom community important, right? So really the key to this is to teach children social and emotional skills, because we know that that's the foundation for them to be able to learn anything else, for them to be able to learn their letters and their numbers and to identify their feelings and to be able to recognize certain things. Social emotional competence is really the key and the beginning of everything. So circle time is a wonderful time to really just kick that off, right? Kick that developmental domain off. And so what we know is that children want certain things and need certain things. So they need to feel connected to their caregivers. They need to feel competent, right, in what they can do in the classroom, and they want to feel contributive, right, in their own classroom community. So those are three things that we know that children need on a daily basis when they're engaged with us in our classrooms and with their peers. So circle time and the circle time experience is a perfect classroom routine that really emphasizes these components for building a community. And so there are three things that we can do right off the bat when we start off our circle time. We want to have and establish a classroom climate, right? So we want to kick off our day right from the beginning with some type of a morning routine or ritual, right? Or a greeting, right? So as soon as children come into the classroom, you want to be able to greet them. They feel welcome. They feel part of the group. Have some type of morning greeting. You can change it up depending on the season. You can change it up depending on the theme of the class or whatever it is that you're studying or focusing on for that month. Make it fun. Make it where children can actually have some kind of a connection as soon as they walk into the classroom. And then you want to be able to have some type of a feelings check-in. It's very important. I mean, you're definitely going to work on that during circle time, but you want to have some type of a visual, some type of something that they're able to engage in, right? So it's not just talking about how they're feeling, asking them how they're feeling today, but having some type of a visual, props, an opportunity for them to point to a visual or a picture of themselves or place it somewhere where they're actually identifying what they're feeling after they have shared how they're feeling. And then, of course, validation is huge. So as a teacher, you don't just want to ask the question, how are you feeling today? And the child says, well, I'm feeling sad. And you go, okay, you're sad, point to sad, and move on to the next child. We know that we have to actively engage with them as well and validate that feeling and extend that statement a little bit to find out a little bit deeper of why it is that they're feeling sad that day. Okay? And then classroom expectations and rules. Circle time is really a wonderful time to review the expectations and rules, and I always encourage teachers to create your own expectations and rules. These are just an example, like, your expectations could be kind, be safe, be respectful, and then your rules follow that, right? Your rules are actually the action to that expectation of what it looks like to be safe, what it looks like to be kind, what it looks like to be respectful to your peers. And so I encourage teachers to create your classroom expectations and rules with your preschoolers as a class, right? Have them involved in the process of what they're going to be, what they're going to look like. And so then they have a sense of ownership during this process. And then they're more likely to follow it, to understand it, and to be able to engage in it with their peers. So some of the elements that are also important during your circle time experience is, incorporating song and music and engaging children in the entire learning process. So it's not just a teacher sitting there with them with a pointer going through the days of the week or the numbers or the letters. You want children to participate in this with you, right? So you want it to be more child-led, right? Use props, visuals, surprises even, and have it less teacher directed. We already know what the schedule is going to look like. We already know what we're going to review, but we want children to be able to be the ones leading the process when it comes to sharing the weather or the letter, all of them, right? To be active participants, which is really a key. If you want to introduce new classroom materials or guests, you want to be able to do that during circle time. If you're getting ready to read a new book, teachers, please read the book ahead of time, right? So you know exactly each word of that book, and then introduce it at circle time to the children. If you are incorporating new materials in learning centers, before you do that, before you put it out in the manipulative center or this sand and water table in the science and math or in the blocks, you want to bring some of those materials in circle time and teach children how to use these materials appropriately. And then if you have a change of routine, if you have a special guest, if there's a field trip, right, you want to be able to discuss that at circle time. You want to be able to let children know that today or this coming week, there is something different happening in our schedule, right? So you might have a tag, or you might have a box, or you might have a star, or you might have something that shows children that there's something special happening, something different happening, to give children an opportunity to prepare because they are structured, they thrive on structure, and so we're creating structure and routine, but sometimes our routine is broken up into, depending on a fire drill or depending on, a special guest. And if you can anticipate that you're having a special guest or a field trip, you can let them know as well. And those are just some tips, right? Those are just some elements that you want to incorporate in your circle time. And so circle time, people talk a lot about time. How much time should I spend at circle time? Well, for preschoolers, it will vary. It could go from 10 minutes to 20 minutes to 25 minutes, depending on the size of the group, depending on if you're having multiple circle times. And so keep that in mind. But really the key is if children are learning naturally and organically, then that's the key. Keep going, have fun, they're actively engaged, and that's really the whole point of it, right? And then lastly, You want to be able to be prepared. Teachers, please be prepared ahead of time for your circle time. Have all the materials, all the props, all the visuals, have everything ready prior to your circle time, so then you can minimize the distractions and avoid or prevent challenging behaviors. So I hope that this information will encourage you to incorporate some of the elements that we talked about and some of the teaching strategies during your circle time learning experience. For those of you who are already incorporating this, that's fantastic. Keep at it, have fun, and just use this as a gentle reminder to maintain the level of high quality interactions that you're having with your preschoolers. Thank you so much for the time, and I'll see you next time.